Hi, I'm Woody Huffines. I own the Nerds to Go in McKinney and Frisco, Texas, and this is Tech for the Untechnical. And what fresh torture is it for the untechnical out there to have to do video meetings? Since the world is shut down and we're sheltered at home, increasingly businesses and networking groups are sending out invitations to Zoom meetings. And while Zoom meetings is the one that's popular and the one that we hear the most about, in this case, it's not just the Zoom meeting that you need to pay attention to. It's the idea that you're using a technology that you're unused to and that there might be issues with that technology. In the case of Zoom meeting, there was a process going around. It was called Zoom bombing, where somebody would show up in your Zoom meeting and they'd share pornography on the screens to everybody or harass people or do things that disrupted the meeting because, like photo bombing, it was somebody just being a wingnut. They're out there. And then subsequently, there were lots of questions about the security of Zoom meetings. And then you see different or educational entities that are saying we can't use Zoom meetings. Teachers can't use Zoom meetings because there's security issues and there's a bunch of security problems. And it's not just the Zoom bombing, it's the security issues. And then it turned out that some of the Zoom stuff was using Chinese encryption and going through Chinese websites. And here's the thing. If you're doing something on the internet, if you don't control everything that's going on from your computer to the computers of all the people that are involved, you've lost control of the security. And that's the first and the most important thing to remember. It doesn't matter whether it's a Zoom meeting or a WebEx meeting or a Google Hangout or, well, there's a bunch of different ways to do this. You can't control who records that information, who puts a recorder on their desk and records the meeting, how that works. So it's not just about Zoom meeting, it's about how do we now operate in an environment where we're doing something that's different than what we've done before. And especially if you're not technical, there's some things to think about, like you don't control where that information goes. As soon as it goes out on the internet, you don't know what it's going to happen with it. So the first thing that I would tell you is if you're going to do a meeting, and it's a video meeting or a video conference call, spend some time with that software to learn it before the meeting. I'm sure you've got a friend someplace that you could say, hey, I'm getting invited to a Google Hangout. I don't know anything about Google Hangout. Let me send you a Google Hangout thing, and y'all start a Google Hangout meeting and kind of poke around and spend some time figuring out how to share your screen, how to lock your screen, how to mute your microphone, how all of those things work so that when you get into a meeting, you don't have some inadvertent excitement because you accidentally shared your screen and there might be something on your desktop that you didn't want to share with everybody. And that's just a matter of learning what the software is that you're going to use before you get there. For Zoom in particular, WebEx, RingCentral, many of the video conferencing applications, there's a way to set up a waiting room so that as the owner of the meeting or the host of the meeting or the presenter of the meeting, they all use different names, you can let people into the meeting. They have to show up in a waiting room or a lobby so that you can see who comes in. And before you let them into the meeting, you verify that they're who you want to let into your meeting. That'll keep you from getting Zoom bombed, as you will. Verify who's coming into your meeting before you let them into the meeting. The second thing that you want to do is set it up so that the meeting can't start until the host or the presenter is present. And that's just a way for you to control the meeting so that people don't show up before you get the meeting established. Now, it'll do that automatically if you use a waiting room or a lobby. But generally, you don't want a meeting to start until the host presents the meeting. So you know who's coming in and you know who's there, and somebody could join your meeting early that you didn't know about if you don't have it set up that way. Each of them has a way to do that. Spend some time learning how to make sure that you have control of who joins the meeting. The next thing that's a pretty good idea is disallow file sharing in a video conferencing meeting because people have bad files on their computer. We talk about don't click on things, don't download things, you can get phished or spammed with email and get bad things on your computer. Well, if somebody inadvertently shares a file in a meeting that has some kind of malware, everybody could end up infected because somebody shared the wrong file. With Zoom meetings, you can disable file sharing. You can do it with all of the meeting software that I've reviewed or I've looked at. So go in and look at it and make sure that you can't share files. If you have to share files with a bunch of people, do it through a more secure way than this ad hoc meeting. The next thing you want to do is be able to lock the meeting. So after the meeting starts, you can lock the meeting down so additional people can't join into the meeting. Now, let's go back to the security of the meeting. Remember, if we have a Zoom meeting and someone films the meeting or records the meeting or has the ability to record their screen, or they put a little electronic recorder and they record the meeting and things that are said in the meeting, anytime you're on the internet, you don't have control. And I want to reiterate that. There's no such thing as having absolute control. If you've got people in 30 different places across the United States or the world, if you're having a video meeting that somebody can't record it, that somebody can't look at it, that somebody can't capture that information. It's not like when a bunch of people sitting around in a conference room. It is fundamentally different. And if you're not technical and you don't think about those things, you can say things or do things in a meeting that could come back to embarrass you in the end, because it's a different process. So, I'm Woody Huffines. I own the Nerds to Go in McKinney and Frisco, Texas. And this is Tech for the Untechnical. If you are untechnical and you're having some challenges with Zoom meetings or WebEx meetings or Ring Central meetings and you have some questions, give us a call and we'll try to help you out. If you find this information helpful, hit the subscribe button below, mash the like, hit the notification bell, make some comments, share it with your friends, and y'all be safe out there.